Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner, Classics / Non-Classics. This is episode number 1118 and Doubleshot number 1012. I got two Marvel trades for you. First up, it is Wolverine, the daughter of Wolverine. This collects material from Marvel Comics Presents Volume 3, Issues 1 through 9. Now, before I talk about the extra story itself, I have to talk about Marvel Comics Presents. Yes. Now you're probably thinking, wait, wasn't this series published back in the 80s and last 175 issues? True, it did. Was this the first time, was it brought back first time since that book ended? No. There was actually a book published back in 2008. Yeah, from 2008 to 2009, a roughly 12-issue thing, 12-issue run, which had had stories like for the Omega Flight storyline with that one. Basically focus on Weapon Omega, who was the guy who basically started the collective storyline. You have him. Let's see. There was a story for, I believe, Spider-Woman. It was about 2 or 3 stories in that one. This one basically now. When this came back last year, it was part of Marvel's 80th anniversary thing, where we had to bring every single old title. The only title they didn't bring back last year was Marvel 2-in-1. Nope, they did not bring that one back because, well, they already previously brought the book back, so why bring it back now? They brought back this series, they brought back Marvel Team Up, they brought back, sometimes some of these series is one-shots like Young at Heart. Yeah, and now you're probably thinking, wait, does Wolverine have a history with Marvel Comics Presents? Yes, he does. As a matter of fact, he had the longest feature in the book. Oh my gosh, his feature was so freaking long. Initially he was there for the first 10 issues, from what I can tell, and then he left, and then he came back with issue 50. After everybody else it took time in the book, he came back and he stayed for a long period of time. He stayed until issue 154 as a feature, despite the fact he had an ongoing series at that point. One of the most famous stories that come from his run from Marvel Comics Presents was the Weapon X storyline, which was a loose inspiration for the look basically Wolverine had. That was the inspiration for the look for it when he appeared in X Apocalypse. This, of course, has nothing to do with that. This, of course, has Wolverine in his ugly brown costume, a costume I've never been a fan of. Yeah, I'm like, what's so wrong with having him wear yellow and blue? Why this ugly costume he had back in the 80s? Yep. Now, all this is written by Charles Shaw. Now, from what I heard prior to this thing coming out, is that there was a rumbling after the Return of Wolverine happened that Wolverine was going to get an ongoing series right afterwards. My guess is this particular run was actually the stories that was supposed to be published by Charles Shaw. But, yeah, Wolverine does have an ongoing series now by Ben Percy. I've heard it's actually pretty good. And it's not surprising he has an ongoing series now because he's the one character Marvel Comics produced from the X-Men who's actually been successful in having an ongoing series. A lot of the only character who's been successful as him has been Deadpool and Cable. Yep. Now, as for why he's in the whole run, because he associated the book. Now, as for why it ended 9 issues, well, and this is just my personal theory of why, low sales. That's probably the reason why the feature that's why the book ended 9 issues. Maybe that, or was initially put out as a limited series. Who knows? Because you look at it, the original was 175 issues, and that came out twice a month. Yeah, you might be thinking, wait, twice a month? That was a thing recently people at Marvel was doing. No, he did it with Marvel Comics Presents. They did 175 issues for that. The previous plan produced out 12 before this one. That brought to 187. This basically brought up to I think it was 196. Yep. So pretty close to 100 issues, but we have the end of here. Now the story for this one is that Wolverine has got another child. Yes, this woman here, who is his daughter. Yeah, I don't remember her name. I'm going to look up her name here. They probably list her off in the book here. And she's a daughter of a woman that Wolverine knew back in World War II. Yeah, she apparently inherited some of his powers. Let's see. They don't really. I think they do list their name in here. I have read this thing. Yeah, the art. Now this is written by Charles Shaw, the same guy who killed Wolverine. So why not do another story for him? Now, for most of this book, basically for issues 1 through 4, 6 through 7, and 9, the artwork is done by Paulo Socria. The Dio Naves does issues 5 and 8 through 9. The cover art in these issues are done by Arthur Adams and Frederick B., who does the first 8 issues. The last one is done by David Yarden. Yeah. And in case you're wondering, yes, she does look like this in the book. And the story for this one is that Wolverine finds out he's got another daughter, and she's connected to a demon known as the Truth. And Wolverine does speak to Doctor Strange about this particular demon. He has heard of the demon. He's like, "You fool! Why would you release it for?" He says, "I didn't. It was a witch who released it on the Nazis." Yeah. But during the course of the story, he apparently has accounted this thing once every 10 years since it was unleashed. And by the end of the story, Demon himself actually is defeated, and then Wolverine's daughter basically says, "Hello, father. Nice to meet you." Yeah. So, this is actually a pretty dang good story, and it's something though that this is actually like at the Wolverine's return. This is like the one of 2 solo things that they put out for Wolverine prior to his ongoing series finally coming back last year. Yeah, the only book they published after Return of Wolverine was Wolverine and the Infinity Gauntlet, which that picked up right after the events of the opening 10 issues of, the previous volume for Canadian X-Men. This book, really good. Give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Pretty good book. Yeah, as far as I can tell, for Charles Shaw stuff he does Wolverine, the only thing else left for the Wolverine for his take on the Wolverine franchise is Wolverines and the miniseries for Hunt Wolverine, and that's it. Yep, that's all it's it for him. Because he actually doesn't do the miniseries Wolverine Infinity Gauntlet. That's on a different writer, and there's also Wolverine in his hands. Mostly that particular miniseries is actually set for Infinity Wars. Yep. Now on to a different character, a character who's known for using a weapon, and written by Jason Aaron, who actually has written Wolverine in the past. This is his second and last trade to collect issues from his run for this series. Conan the Barbarian, collecting issues 7 through 12. Yes. Now, these issues are drawn, now of course they're written by Jason Aaron, obviously. The artwork in here for issues 7, 9, and 12 are done by Muhammad Astor. Issue 8 is done by Gerald Zaifel and Gary Brown, who does a couple pages in issue 8. The cover artist is Astad Rubik, who actually worked with Jason Aaron on his Thor God of Thunder book, which that book is fantastic. Now, as in the case of this particular book, it's mostly just basically just a series of stories involving Conan, like Thomas Time as King. We have Return of his son Khan. Yeah, his son shows up in here for like 1 issue. But it's something though that Jason Aaron ended his run in this book after only 12 issues. And aside from him to give Conan taking a bunch of monsters and basically typical Conan stuff, it's a fun book to read. I do recommend it if you're a fan of Conan the Barbarian and of course Jason Aaron. But you have to know about the character Khan, who is in fact Conan's son. He made his first appearance way back in King Conan #1. I have read the book, but that's where I read basically first appeared. I don't remember who created him. I didn't look who created him. I know he first appeared in that particular book. But this book, all in all, is really good. Of course, the cover here is actually the cover for issue 7. The back cover, I think it's issue number, I think it's 8, I think it is. I think it could be 12. Yeah, and one thing in Jason Aaron's I did like is the fact anytime that, because every issue takes place in a different area of, like, basically this pre-Babel times, like everywhere he goes, And this is something Jason Aaron keeps up with all the issues, like first 9 issues. Last 3 though doesn't do this for some reason. He apparently like reads it out basically where he goes. Like in issue 9, he goes to a place called Gosselin. In issue 7, he goes to Argus and the Brackwood Isles. For issue 8, he goes to Chimeria, Conan's home. Yep. Conan's home. For issue 10, he goes to a few different places. He goes to the Bachanals, Aquilina, Zamora, Turin, actually ran twice, the deserts, and the Southern Sea. That's where he goes for issue number 10. For issue 11, the whole thing is blacked out. Probably because he's actually in the frickin' sky. Yeah, it's a blacked out page, but yeah. My guess is because he sends from the mountains, that's what he does for issue number 11. For the final issue, they don't really say where he goes. Like, it's not even highlighted exactly where he goes for the final issue of Jason Aaron's run. But this, really fun. I thoroughly enjoy reading this thing. And I'm going to give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Final thoughts on Jason Aaron's run on Conan the Barbarian. Well, this was a pretty short run. Yes, only 12 issues. Which I'm like, really? Now, you're probably thinking, okay, who takes over for Jason Aaron after he leaves issue 12? Jim Zeb. Yep, Jim Zeb takes over at issue 13. And I'm not really sure exactly why Jason Aaron decided to do this for, why he decided to end his brief run on Conan the Barbarian. I mean, look at, let's say, Roy Thomas when he wrote the book. He wrote the book for a long freaking time. If you look at how many issues he wrote for this series, he wrote the first 115 issues. I mean, damn, that took, that's like almost 12 years of writing this book. Yes, though Roy Thomas did come back for a couple issues of Savage or Conan. But in the case of Conan the Barbarian itself, he didn't come back to this book for some reason. I'm not really sure why. And I wouldn't be surprised, though, because here's the thing. The final issue of Savage or Conan was actually not put into the final issue, the second to last trade for, well, part of the Savage or Conan trade series. Yeah, I'm not really sure why they did that for. Probably because of Jim Zeb. I do have a theory that issue might be put into the first issue that collects his run for Conan the Barbarian. I mean, why not? I don't think anybody would have a problem with it at all. Nope. Now you probably think, okay, since he ended this in this book, what else is he doing at Marvel? Well, he's still doing his Avenger book, which is really good, and he's doing Jane Foster Valkyrie. And that's it. Those are the only 2 books I can think of he's doing right now. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't want to do too much. That's probably the reason. He probably did just like Conan, probably because he felt like it, and probably because a lot of people trust him with the book, because he did Thor for us a long time. He did Thor since 2012. He didn't finally end his run for Thor until last year. He did the book for 7 years. 7 years. He put up more issues than Walt Simonson ever did for the book. Yeah, and Walt Simonson was booked for almost 10 years for Thor. Yeah, but not much else to say about these 2 trades. They're both really good. Okay, so that's it for this particular review. My next view, when I get a chance to do, will be a review of the newest episodes for My Hero Academia. Yeah, they're releasing the final 2 episodes today of Season 4 for the dub. Yep. I'm also going to review One Piece. And probably going to do the first review for the Helpful Fox Cynical Sun series. Probably do the first video for that today. I know, like, I haven't really said how many episodes I'm going to cover for that video yet, but they'll probably discuss later on today, okay? See you next video. Bye.